funniest penalty kicks ever. As much as penalty kicks are a very technical part of the game and a way for teams to get their advantage and easily beat their opponents, taking them takes more work. Players and teams can train their penalties for so much, but there's some events you cannot just prepare for. Or how can you prepare for the players getting a muscle pull just before taking a penalty, player slipping, the ball hitting the bar, and the player failing to convert the rebound? The best players in world football have missed penalties in some of the weirdest ways possible. In this video, we will discuss some of the funniest penalty kicks that have ever been taken. We are sure you will find it equally hilarious. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Penalties are so hard, and if you have had to play them in any raving football competition, you will understand this fact. It is always a 50-50 chance that you will score or miss. Now imagine how tough it must be for professional players who take theirs with thousands watching on and just carrying all that pressure on their shoulders. Penalty misses are still hilarious anyway, and we have some of the most hilarious for you to watch. Penalty misses are still hilarious anyways, and we have some of the most hilarious for you to watch. But before we get onto that, imagine not subscribing to Free Kick Football or not switching on our notifications. How do you want to get our exciting updates? Kindly do the needful and let's get on with our video today. Harry Kane's quarter-final miss. It is the quarter-finals of the World Cup, and England is trailing by a goal. France is 1 goal up and the scoreline remains 2-1. In a keenly contested match, 85th minute, and England is presented with a golden opportunity. A penalty-worthy foul is committed, and the English captain is tasked with leveling the score. He has scored countless penalties in the past, so no one doubted his ability to pull this bed and motivate his teammates to go for the killer against an already tired French side. But imagine the surprise of everyone when Kane stepped up and skied his penalty in Qatar. Gasps escaped the mouths of many of the onlookers. What had just happened? Harry Kane threw away a golden chance, and England was crashing out of the competition. Now that we look back, this might not have been as hilarious, but the many memes that flooded the internet afterwards say otherwise. Danny Welbeck failing to react to a rebound. Remember when we said penalties are just so unpredictable? One of those instances happened during the lockdown, and the Premier League had to resume. Well, it was a match between Brighton and West Brom. West Brom was already leading by a goal at this point. All that remained was for Welbeck to convert, and the scores were leveled, yeah? But even though he placed the ball well, had enough shot power on the ball, he even sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. All that remained was for the goalpost to bulge, but the ball dramatically hit the pole and came back to Welbeck, who could not adjust in time to place the rebound properly, and West Brom escaped. Sol James tackling her teammate after a penalty miss. Football sometimes can just be all shades of amusing. There is a reason why teams have their different jersey colors, so tell us why after Sol James missed the crucial penalty, she hard tackled her teammate to prevent her from scoring the rebound? Tempers can flare and emotions and feelings get heightened, so we understand why this can happen. However, this particular penalty miss finds its way into our list. Why are you hard tackling your mate in a competition to prevent her from scoring a rebound from a penalty you missed? Football is just unpredictable, and anything can happen anytime. This was one of those awkward situations. Lookman's fake Panenka. The Panenka is one of the most innovative ways to score a penalty kick, and top players must be confident enough to pull it off. It is not one skill that can be done every time. Ademola Lookman found this out the hard way after trying a cheeky Panenka, only for the goalkeeper to remain unmoved and to easily catch the ball. As a professional football player, we understand you need incredible confidence to take spot kicks, but sometimes it is good to just go with the ordinary. Straight angle shots have not stopped failing, so there was no need for Lookman to go for a Panenka here. That alone adds to the hilarious nature of the event. We are sure he has grown from that now, and he is a much better player. Moroccan Rosella Ayane looking clueless after sending her team through. Football is just so weird, and just anything can happen during matches. Tell us why the Moroccan female footballing ace was as clueless as anything when she just scored the decisive penalty that sent the Moroccan female national team into the finals of the WAFCON competition that sometimes held back. The scoreline was deadlocked at 4-4 each after the Nigerian contingent missed out on one of their penalties. Hers was the deal breaker, and as she dispatched it effortlessly into the bottom left corner, she just stood cluelessly as fans erupted in celebration. Registering took some time, and her teammates later celebrated with her. It's quite hilarious. Ronaldo chest thumping a goalkeeper. This was superstar Cristiano Ronaldo in the Serie A for Juventus back then. It was a derby match with Torino, and this was after the goalkeeper Santiago Ichazo had tried to psych him out to lose the penalty. Remember we mentioned in one of our last videos that goalkeepers always try to psych out players or use some sort of reverse psychology to get into players' heads. Top goalkeepers in the world have tried this, and it has worked on some players, but Perin should have known best not to try this with one of the best players in world football. The highest goal scorer in the world, and he, of course, did not hesitate but to dispatch it expertly into the net. And he chest thumped him as a form of celebrating. We do not know if he did this just out of the heat of the moment or if it was intentional. But the man got a yellow card just for that. And we all found everything hilarious. Hulk putting his cleats to good use in training. Hulk naturally has an incredible shot power, and he knew how to use it to his advantage on free kicks and penalty kicks. In a very old video that was taken when the ace Brazilian was playing his trade with Zenit St. Petersburg in the Russian Football League, he innovatively used his boot to deceive the goalkeeper. He was about to take the penalty in training, and just by coincidence, as he was about to take the penalty, his boots went off, and the goalkeeper followed the direction of the boot only for Hulk to remain unfazed and put the ball in the other direction. Hulk would later point to the boot as he laughed up with his teammates. Accrington's Corid Adedoyan's hilarious mix against Bradford City. This happened recently in the English Premiership 2nd Division when Accrington's Corid Adedoyan slipped as he took his penalty against Bradford City in the first round of the Carabao Cup. As you can see in the video, it was quite hilarious. But this takes us back to how penalty slips have cost the team terribly. From Nicolas Anelka missing his penalty in the penalty shootout for Chelsea against Manchester United to Steven Gerrard's slip, Paulo Dybala, and many others like that. You can never know what will happen in a penalty shootout. Goalkeepers trying to rile up players. The best goalkeepers in world football, Julius Caesar, Joe Hart, and Gianluigi Buffon, have been seen trying to rile up players with an insane amount of confidence too. Joe Hart, the famed shot stopper, was once seen telling Heita, former AS Roma player, "I know you," just to shake him up before he took his penalty. And in weird circumstances, Heita lost that penalty when Hart guessed right and parried his penalty, saving it, much to the chagrin of everyone watching. Julius Caesar was trying to get into Zlatan Ibrahimovic's head before he took his penalty, but no one dares Zlatan, you know. Player hilariously faking an injury after scoring a penalty. One of the most hilarious penalties of all time was during a shootout between the local players of the Kariobangi Sharks and Everton in the Kenyan local league. You need to watch this video to understand what we're talking about fully. It was an exhibition match in Kenya as part of the Everton in Kenya program. A local player scored the penalty to win the match for his team, and he hilariously faked the penalty just before he celebrated with his teammates. It was so weird and funny at the same time. This is even common in women's football, as some would score a penalty, limp hilariously jumping on their teammates to celebrate. Messi's hilarious rebound. This was set in the Champions League in a match involving Barcelona and Manchester City, with Joe Hart on goalkeeping duties at the time. Well, Manchester City conceded a penalty, and after all the drama that followed, Messi stepped out to stake the penalty. And Joe Hart guessed correctly. Still, as the rebound returned to Lionel Messi, our man nodded the rebound in another direction. What made it hilarious was how the superstar stretched so much to nod the ball, only to nod in a far opposite direction outside of the posts. And he finally buried his face in the ground after that. Imagine us not adding this to our list. We owe you that much. Well, that will be all on our list for the most hilarious penalties we could assemble for your reviewing pleasure. We are sure there are dozens of others, and we will not hesitate to ask you to share with us or mention them in the comment section. Let us know about them. Who knows if we would add them to the second part of this video. Do subscribe and click on your notification icon so you do not miss on any new updates from Free Kick Football. They will be worth your while. Till we come again, see ya!